I don't like how he spits blood. It just it seems very disrespectful to a character I love. Again, it's a very tragic ending, and I got to admit, I did get a little choked up too.
And especially the scene where Zira throws the baby off of the side of the bridge so it drowns, so they don't kill it barbarically like they did them, and then she crawls over to Cornelius and hugs him, and she's bawling her eyes out, and she dies.
Yeah. Oh, no, but that's not what... Wait.
Yeah, she throws the baby overboard, but it's the wrong baby.
The professor had shot the baby already.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
He threw it out of her hands and shot it a bunch of times. It was already dead.
And so she just threw it overboard.
Which makes it even more sad.
Yeah.
And I almost think that this is a comment towards the apes' side. That the humans are a little more barbaric. Because again, the apes didn't kill Taylor in the first movie. They did in the second, but that was a little more of a war kind of scenario. The thing is that the humans did kill Zira.
Yeah.
And Cornelius and the baby.
Which Kim Hunter is such a great actress in that movie.
Right?
She is in all of them, but in that movie, in my opinion, out of all the Planet of the Apes movies, she does the best in this one.
Wait, does she play Caesar's love interest in the other two?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
The person who plays Caesar's love interest is the female doctor who loves the apes on this movie.
Ah, okay. Alright, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And when we get to battle, I want to bring something up about Rise of the Planet of the Apes, because I think I brought this up to you off recording.
Yeah.
About a possible director's cut and what I think is going to be in it.
Yeah.
But I'll bring that up later. This is a pretty good movie.
It's a great movie, and you're expecting it to be really lighthearted. In some ways, I like this better than Star Trek IV because of the ending. Because in Star Trek IV, it's lighthearted the entire way through. This movie, it gets really, really dark.
Right. It's almost like a loss of innocence.
Yes. The movie is just so tragic. The movie really got to me. All of the Planet of the Apes movies really get to me and make me think.
Right.
Like, in this one, it has the least... In my opinion, it has the least amount of allegories and sort of social commentary in it out of all of the Planet of the Apes movies, but...
I'd say that's Battle. Battle only has, like...
Well, I'll bring up my case when we get to Battle. And I still love it. And that ending is just as iconic, in my opinion, which is something that I really love on all the Planet of the Apes movies, is that they end on something very iconic.
Right.
And the ending of Escape from the Planet of the Apes is Ricardo Montalban talking to Caesar, even though his name is Milo in this movie.
Which confused me when I first saw it, because I saw Conquest first.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the ape goes, Mama.
Oh, God. So powerful.
And then it cuts to the end credits. And what I like about the end credits is that there's no music.
There's none for any of them.
There's, like, none for any of them.
And it's
except for Battle. Battle has music at the ending.
No, so does the director's cut of Conquest.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does, because there's music when C's in the ending, and it cuts into the credits.
Well, not on mine. Mine, you just hear the screams of the apes cheering.
Oh. Mine has music.
Huh.
Or, well, mine did. I don't have it, but when I saw it, it did. It had,
That's odd.
It was a reuse score, though. It was when you first see the gorillas in the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not in mine. Yeah, that's definitely not in mine.
Yeah, that's weird. But it was the same ending, though. It was when they kicked the crap out of Breck with the guns.
Right.
But we'll get into that, because the director's cut of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes is one of the most controversial director's cuts ever.
It truly is. But anyways, so just my last thoughts on Escape from the Planet of the Apes. It's an all-around great movie. But you need to be an Apes fan to truly appreciate it, though.
I would actually say show this, if you're showing your kids the movies, I would say start with the original, of course.
Yes.
Then show them this. Because this has very little continuity with Beneath, except for the nuclear blast, of course.
Yeah.
But you can just explain that to them.
Yeah.
I would actually say show Beneath after this, because this one, it kind of it's almost like a refresher, like kind of a serial. Like, you know, the serials were like kind of to get you in the mood of movies, just to kind of
yes,
take like kind of make you a little more lighthearted about movies than the more dramatic movies.
Right.
This is almost like that to the Ape series. It's a little more lighthearted until the ending, of course. And you know, I think that's why I would say show this before Beneath, because it's a little bit more of a refreshing, almost kind of palate cleanser movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The last thoughts for me. I don't love the movie. I actually like Conquest and Beneath better. This is a great movie. All the Apes movies are except for Battle, but Battle is more flawed than bad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll get to that. Escape for me is just kind of a palate cleanser, like I said. It just makes me feel good. The performances are excellent, and I love that evil professor.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Great character. And doesn't he play Breck in Conquest?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, I was just making sure, because I think because he looks similar to me.
But it's not the same guy.
Huh?
It's not the same guy.
Really?
No, it's not the same guy who plays Breck.
The governor.
Yeah, it's not the same person.
Really?
Yeah.
So they look the same.
No, they don't.
Oh. Well, they do to me.
Not to me. Oh, well, anyways. And so, out of 5, what would you give this movie?
I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5, only because the ending is so good. But I don't know, I'm missing some of the allegory, and the movie, to me, has a couple of moments where it kind of drags.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at some points, it's like, okay, we've seen this montage already, let's move on. I don't know, I have some problems with it, but overall, a very entertaining movie.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? Out of 4,
I give it 3 to 3.5. Just because, 1, it's an Ape movies, and I loved it, and 2, that ending really sticks out.
Right.
The ending where they're killed and then Mama really sticks out to me. So, I'll give it 3 out of 4.
Okay.
Nothing to be ashamed of, 3 out of 4.
No, still a great movie.
Okay, so...
Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
The most controversial, in my opinion, out of all of them.
Indeed. And the one that was easily the most inspirational to the most recent film, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yep. May I
Adam, first thoughts on Conquest.
In my opinion, the best sequel out of... in my opinion, the best sequel out of the Planet of the Apes series. And definitely the darkest, and in my opinion, one of the best director's cuts I have ever seen.
Yeah, totally. And not just for shock value, but there's so much more added in. Just the fact that this is a prequel. And it does change the timeline, sure. Like, of course, Aldo barely does anything in this version, except for kind of lead the military forces, while Caesar's mainly leading the kind of strategy.
Uh-huh.
Aldo doesn't do much in this. He has no lines. He's mentioned, though. You see him a bunch of times.
Yeah, they don't. He doesn't mention him by name, but it references Aldo.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you think it's Aldo.
Well, it is Aldo. I mean,
it is Aldo, but
they focus on that gorilla a lot.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Continue with what you were saying.
Well, I guess before we do this, we need to talk about the difference between the director's cut and the theatrical version.
The difference?
Blood. A lot of violence. Because, honestly, when they first wrote the script, when Paul Dane first wrote the script, they thought it was still going to be not a G, but a PG movie. And so they were still expecting that, but when they first showed it to an audience, and everyone was getting up and leaving because he had children, it was getting a rated R rating. And so, they had to cut out a lot of violence in the theatrical version. And...
Shame, because it adds so much.
Yeah. And, yeah, the film would have been way more successful if it was kept the same.
And if the MPAA had gotten the stick out of their ass and had realized that, yeah, this is dark, but it's not rated R blood. It's realistic war kind of, like, gore and stuff. Like, it's not people getting their testicles ripped off.
Yeah.
As weird of an example that is.
Yeah.
It's just apes with their heads bashed. It shows the reality of war.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm going to touch on the lighter things that they changed. One, there's a scene where Governor Breck shoots a gorilla in the face, and blood goes everywhere. And there's a few other scenes where there's a lot of blood flying all over the place during the battle scenes. And the battle scene is much more violent, but the most significant change is the ending.
Of course.
The ending on the director's cut is so dark.
When they beat the crap out of Breck with the guns.
Yeah, like they kill him. They kill Breck. And in my opinion, that is so much more speaking to what the apes can do, and more on the lines of iconic,
and more on the lines of this being a prequel. Than in the theatrical version, which the theatrical version, they just have a lot of long shots and close-ups on Caesar's eyes, and they had Roddy McDowall redub a speech. Right.
Which, honestly, I'd like the speech, but, you know...
It's too optimistic.
It is, yeah.
For the movie, it's called Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. It's way too optimistic. And the thing is that the reason why they have so many close-ups of his eyes in the theatrical version is so you don't see him saying...
Yeah.
Apes will take their position of power and blah blah blah. This is the end for humans, and we're gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Instead, it's we're going to live equal, and the thing is that I do like that scene where he's talking to the African American gentleman whose name escapes me. Jacobs. Is his
Jacobs.
Name?
Yep.
Jacobs. Okay, which I want to get into if we touch on Rise later. Because, of course, he's in that one, too, but different. Yep. I love Jacobs in this. He doesn't have a lot of lines till the third act, but just that scene with him and Caesar talking sums up his character.
And then I love it how he is truly surprised that Caesar can talk. Because he didn't believe. He doesn't believe in the story that the monkey is still alive. Right. He doesn't believe in that story. And... all of a sudden, Caesar, and you can tell Caesar's going through a lot of pain. You know that Caesar's taking a risk, because Caesar closes his eyes and he breathes heavily, and then he says, "I am that ape, Mr. McDonald."
Right.
And he's crying. Caesar is crying.
He doesn't remember his parents.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if he's thinking, would my parents be ashamed of me right now if they were to see me doing this?
Yeah, which...
And that's why he's so desperate in battle to hear them talk.
Mm-hmm. In my opinion, out of all of the performances that Roddy McDowall gives in the Planet of the Apes movies, this is his best.
It's certainly his most deep and three-dimensional performance.
Yeah, because my favorite scene that he is in, and it just shows how wonderful he can act in that makeup, is when... he finds out that Ricardo Montalban's character was killed.
Right.
And he starts crying.
And he just flips his shit.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, we gotta overthrow. We gotta take charge. And...
this cliche phrase here, that's when the shit hits the fan.
Yes, it is truly when the shit hits the fan. Like, he begins off as somebody who basically couldn't lead an army of ants and is a crybaby.
And he's a spoiled brat.
And then he becomes a person who leads a revolution.
Absolutely. And again, going to the director's cut for a second, because it's a little different in the theatrical cut, because they always focus on his eyes, and you don't see his full body.
Mm-hmm. Look at his eyes. They're full of rage when he's giving that speech.
Right. And in the director's cut, once he gives his speech, he tucks his... I love his mannerisms. He tucks his hands into his body, and he kind of squints at all the fire he's caused. And he almost isn't sure of himself, like, oh my god, what the fuck have I just done? And he's almost like, you know, is this the right thing to do? And in the end, it's too late. He can't, he's made a bed, now he's got to sleep in it.
Exactly.
And I just love Roddy McDowall's mannerisms, and you're right. This really is his greatest performance in the Planet of the Apes movies. Like, okay, I love Cornelius as much as the next guy, but it's not as layered as the performance he gives as Caesar.
Exactly.
This is also a testament to the makeup. He doesn't look like Cornelius. He looks like...
He doesn't... Well, he looks like he's related to Cornelius.
Well, sure, but...
That's what I like about it. They didn't make him look exactly like Cornelius. They made him look like he's related to Cornelius.
Right. His hair sticks up a little bit more. He almost has a hairdo.